Hello, this is Kerry Shamblin with the March 2024 Vedic Astrology forecast. First, I'll do a summary from the 9 planets. The Sun. The Sun is heading into the watery sign of Pisces from March 14th through April 13th. This marks the beginning of the spring season on March 19th as we watch the winter dissolve behind us. Sun in Pisces is generally a good time for growth, for finishing the old, and for preparing for the new. The Sun will be jumping in the pool with Rahu, the eclipse-causing North Node, who tends to amplify and cause excitement that is not always welcome or expected. The Sun aligning with the nodal axis will cause a pair of eclipses, one at the full moon on March 25th, and the next a total solar eclipse on April 8th. Get ready for that play of light and shadow that can be both informative and unnerving. The Moon. March begins with a waning moon and becomes a new moon in the sign of Aquarius on March 10th. The end of the first week of March could feel like a shift in energy, with Mercury and Venus both changing signs, and the moon slipping into line with the Sun and Saturn. The second week of March could feel a bit thin energetically. Give yourself some time and space to recharge. This could be a good time to reassess your trajectory when it comes to compromise, working with others, and favoring your individual agenda. The moon becomes full in the sign of Virgo on March 24th and 25th, causing a lunar eclipse that will be visible in much of the Americas. Eclipses can sometimes feel disruptive, especially when they land close to the degree of an important placement in the individual horoscope. Good advice for eclipse times is to settle down and turn inward, creating inner calm in the face of outer uncertainty. Mars. Mars begins March strongly by approaching his exaltation degree in Capricorn and then transiting into Aquarius from March 15th through April 22nd. Mars in Capricorn for the first half of March is powerful medicine that should be carefully applied. With the right focus, this energy could see work projects move along quickly. When Mars moves to Aquarius on March 15th, the mood changes slightly, but the feeling of accomplishment while pressing forward will prevail. There could be friction that slows progress, which could actually be positive. Patience with delays will be imperative and may pay off in the long run. Mercury. Mercury is on the move this month, touching 3 different signs. This can translate as things progressing too fast, which can cause anxious feelings or rushing through actions. Resist this urge to become overwhelmed by the demands of daily tasks by focusing on one step at a time. Mercury moves from Aquarius to Pisces on March 6th, and then rolls on into Aries on March 25th, after which he stops in his tracks on April 1st, beginning a retrograde cycle that returns him to Pisces on April 9th. So, if you do rush through things and those little mistakes are made, there is likelihood of do-overs in April. Mercury in Pisces makes clear communication difficult. Patience and conscious slowing down will help on this front. Jupiter. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, known for pioneering, leadership, and initiation of campaigns. Jupiter, the great and expansive positive force that we rely on for guidance and wisdom, has been moving through Aries since April of 2023 and is set to move to Taurus on May 1st, 2024. For half of Jupiter's time in Aries, he was linked with Rahu, causing unpredictable growth, sudden course changes, and obscurity on the road ahead. For these final 2 months of Jupiter's transit in Aries, we can enjoy more clarity due to Rahu's retreat. What we may still be feeling is the drag of Saturn as he aspects Jupiter, leaving us with a collective feeling of negativity or dread about the future, based on very good evidence we've received in the recent past. Use this wisdom to inform future choices. Being positive is one thing. Gambling away the farm is another. Learn from the wisdom of elders and past mistakes. Venus. Venus is the planet who holds the basket of stuff we all want: love, comfort, relationships, luxury, nourishment, beauty. Venus passes through Aquarius from March 6th to the 31st, visiting Saturn, who doesn't care as much about any of those things. What Venus and Saturn do have in common is social responsibility and the belief that we are all connected, which causes the actions of one to be felt by all, for good or ill. This is the study for March. How can I find what is good for me and supports my well-being while also promoting those things for the collective? The challenge is to find the right points of compromise without falling into martyrdom. Go. Saturn. Slow-moving Saturn continues to hold space in his own air sign, Aquarius. This transit stretches from January 25th, 2023 through March 29th, 2025. Saturn doesn't at all mind being alone, but let's face it, he has a lot of age-related wisdom to share with the kids passing through his zone this month. Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Venus will all be passing through Aquarius in March. One of the easy messages to hear from Saturn is to slow down. When you feel the world spinning too fast, an easy way to slow down time is to sit, close your eyes, and dive into the space of nothingness. Suddenly, 5 minutes is an eternity, but your mind has settled. Saturn can help you know when is the right time and what is the right action. But you have to slow down to his pace to hear the advice. Rahu. Rahu is the head of the celestial dragon, moving through Pisces from November of 2023 through May of 2025. Rahu also gets visitors this month. First, Mercury, a great friend of Rahu who overlaps brilliantly with intelligence. This pairing could be quite creative, but also messy. Neither Rahu nor Mercury are masters at traversing Pisces. This may result in crinkled communications and botched purchases. Slowing down may help here also. When Sun enters Pisces, we are all embarking on the eclipse pairing journey ahead. Rahu's talent for shadow play tends to reveal information that helps us understand our deep desires. Watch for clues this month that highlight what is not working, and use those clues to inform the search for what will work. Ketu. From November of 2023 through May of 2025, Ketu will occupy the dual earth sign of Virgo. Ketu's magic with obfuscation and obstruction helps us understand what is holding us back and also drops hints about how to spring the lock that will set us free. Ketu comes into play strongly on March 25th by acting as the force that will eclipse the full moon in Virgo. This may be a pivotal moment where we perceive mistakes and recalibrate. In general, we are still looking at Ketu to guide us into physical practices that free us from bad habits and lead us into practical maintenance routines that support health. For an in-depth analysis of specific planetary placements, please continue to listen to the full planetary forecast. Mercury transits Pisces from March 6th through the 25th. As we sail toward spring in the northern hemisphere of Mother Earth, fleet-footed Mercury is leading the charge of the inner planets as they flow around the zodiac as the entourage of the sun. The prominent signs for March and April will be the final two signs of the zodiac, Aquarius and Pisces. During the first week of March, Mercury finishes business in the eccentric sign of Aquarius, which has been the seat of its own ruler, Saturn, since January of 2023. The planetary influence structure is strongly posted in the corner of the zodiac that we think of as the end that turns to a beginning. The 11th sign, Aquarius, is occupied by its own ruler, Saturn, until March 29th of 2025, giving us a very strong tent pole around which to build for the next year. The 12th sign, Pisces, is occupied by the north node of the moon, the infamous and ingenious Rahu, through May of 2025, creating big waves, big pictures, and colorful visions. Through this next year, Saturn tells us to build with what we have and hold our ground, while Rahu suggests that we could scrap it all and start all over again. Mixed messages that make it difficult to stay, difficult to go, and difficult to let go in the midst of instinctively knowing that radical reorganization is really the best remedy. And for now, in the rollout of Aquarius, Pisces, and into a new horizon with the fiery sign of Aries next in the series, we have expansive Jupiter at the helm, inspiring and guiding us through the rough start that we may be exploring, whether desired or not. Jupiter will spend his last couple of months in Aries during March and April of 2024, moving to Taurus on May 1st. This energy of Jupiter could be what is both inspiring and scaring us all at once as we push out of the gate toward the promise of peace and growth. Mercury, with Saturn and the Sun in Aquarius, exerted quite a bit of influence on the sign of Leo, which lies opposite. Mercury represents the lightning-quick action of intellect and the ready flexibility required for communication and transactions. We can use Mercury as a scout, an analyst, a student, or a manager. When Mercury is strongly influenced by other planets, he tends to take those qualities. With Saturn at his back, our assessments of how things look going forward could have been a bit dim during February. Mercury in Pisces, joining rowdy Rahu from March 6th through the 25th, could be a great assistant in zooming out to gain a wider perspective about what to adjust as we collectively move through the signs occupied by the outer planets this spring. While a wider perspective may be offered, it may not be clean or clear. Mercury is debilitated in Pisces, so communication and exchanges could be confusing and messy. Add the chaotic influence of Rahu into this situation, and the advice becomes even more urgent toward bringing patience, understanding, and forgiveness to the table in order to avoid mishaps and misunderstandings that threaten to drag unnecessarily into the future. The desire to speed through things in order to get to the finish line could be strong. Resist that urge and find a way to find the value that bobbing in the big waves brings. Venus transits Aquarius from March 6th through the 31st. The notable thing with Venus in February was the meeting up with exalted Mars in Capricorn and then breezing past him. The breezing past likely feels a bit better than the meeting up for most of us. This transaction between Venus and Mars could have brought a shift in relationships, creative trajectories, or even healing paths. Venus and Mars are Earth's direct neighbors and lead us into different corridors of life. Venus represents our tendency toward culture, social interaction, and finding the common ground that bridges our individual pathways. Mars shows how we collect, protect, and defend, making life safe by gathering resources and strategizing safety. During 2023, Venus was following Mars's lead through the zodiac, which could have felt to us as if we were working too hard to make connections, to create freely, or to rejuvenate our systems. With Venus moving into a lead role, it is time to let the natural flow of things guide your creativity, relationships, and connections. From March 6th through the 31st, Venus moves through Aquarius, a friendly environment, visiting with Saturn, also friendly with Venus. This is a good stretch to bring beauty, love, and vitality into that tent that our dear Saturn is holding up. Take enjoyment in celebrating what has been incubating for a good long stretch. Pat yourself on the back for that patience, resilience, and good faith. New moon in Aquarius, Purvabhadra, on March 10th. The moon joins the sun at 27 degrees Aquarius in the nakshatra of Purvabhadra on March 10th. This new moon moment is decorated by the presence of both Venus and Saturn, who are also currently occupying Saturn and Rahu's air sign, Aquarius. We may find ourselves in a liminal moment after the first week of March, as the dark moon directs our attention inward. There is an interesting planetary configuration in the sky, with all of the visible planets grouped in just 4 consecutive signs. First, exalted Mars in Capricorn seems to be making a big push, like Sisyphus rolling that boulder uphill, not only creating momentum from where he is, but pushing his aspect onto Jupiter in Aries, almost as if to bolster us all for the sallying forth that is to come. Next, the foursome in Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Saturn, asking us to stop and be still for a moment as we decide which materials to pick up and which to leave behind. Moving forward from Aquarius, we find Mercury and Rahu in Pisces, splashing around in the process of dissolution that comes before reemergence. Finally, we have the guide, Jupiter, in occupation of Aries for just 2 more months, preparing us for the next big thing that we hope to make happen. As we pause here in this still moment, we can feel the tension created between the firm footing we have worked hard to find and the expansive growth and forward movement that we crave. The question of the moment is, can we have both? Is there a way to maintain our desire for stability while we reach forward into new paradigms? Resist the urge to throw everything out as you attempt to rise from the ashes. There are important assets you are carrying that could be valuable in the future. Find a way to pack them along without weighing yourself down. Counterbalancing the chain of planets stretching from Capricorn to Aries is silent, heavy Ketu in Virgo. This is our anchor as we watch the world whirl around us. Fall back on your physical and mental practices to create a nexus of calm and stillness that can't be penetrated as you watch the world turn about you, adjusting as necessary. The Sun transits Pisces from March 14th through April 13th. The Sun will be traversing the stormy seas of Pisces from March 14th through April 13th, passing through the temporary realm of Rahu, which means that we're all about to witness a pair of eclipses. When the moon gets to Virgo on March 25th, we'll experience a partial eclipse of the full moon. And then, when the moon joins the sun in Pisces on April 8th, 2024, we experience a total solar eclipse. The eclipse game is a play of light and shadow, with sun, moon, and earth moving around with alignments that temporarily obscure our lights. From an astrological interpretation standpoint of this astronomical phenomenon, we are getting the chance to work through the energy of the nodal axis, which is the exact alignment that causes those eclipses. Archetypally speaking, the north node of the moon, Rahu, is the champion of earthly engagement, reminding us of our insatiable desires for experience and material interactions. In individual horoscopes, we can explore what someone really wants by analyzing Rahu's position, aspects, and rulership. Ketu, the south node of the moon, counterbalances Rahu's attraction to the chaos of earthly life with spiritual detachment, subtle intelligence, and a drive for liberation from the bonds that form as we engage with earthly life. In late 2023, Rahu moved into the oceanic realm of Jupiter's expansive water sign Pisces for a typical transit that will last for about 1.5 years. Rahu is ever mirrored by Ketu, who likewise moved into Mercury's organized earth sign Virgo through May of 2025, when we see the nodal axis shift once again. Until then, our eclipse pairings will bring our attention to the light and shadow as they oscillate through Pisces and Virgo. Each year, from mid-March through mid-April, we experience the great light of the sun illuminating the stars of Pisces, which are connected when we draw lines that resemble a pair of fishes. The vernal equinox occurs on March 19th, 2024, when the sun is at 6 degrees Pisces, putting us collectively on the fishtail end of the age of Pisces. This year and next year, as the sun blazes through this final wedge of the zodiac, the north node Rahu will shadow that zone, causing eclipses. With the keywords list for Rahu starting with desire, chaos, instability, and unpredictability, let us prepare for events and opportunities that cause us to question what we want and be willing to let go of structures or plans that aren't aligning with new ideas. In Sanskrit, the Pisces sign is called Meena, which also means fish, showing a universal understanding of this sector of space. Reflect this month on the meaning of this symbol. As air-breathing creatures, what do we have to learn from a creature whose environment is water? The body and tail of a fish are prominent, while the head is minimal, reminding us of Ketu, the headless one. Our tendencies as humans to overthink and then override logic based on fleeting desires are strong. Of all the creatures on the planet, we are the masters of manipulation, creating tools, twisting the truth, and supporting our lives with objects that we have made to improve our comfort and safety. Because of this, our modern lifestyles provide these things, but with side effects that leave us mentally and physically exhausted, plus worried about our survival, despite all of the things we have to help ourselves. The collective anxiety being felt on Earth is palpable, and the feeling that something must be done, or better yet, undone, is vibrating strongly. As the sun moves through Pisces and our eclipse pairing unfolds, it is time to look beyond what we thought we wanted and to reset our vision to a universal, wide-angle setting. Be willing to reevaluate your direction. Be willing to see situations from both a bright and a dark side before you decide to stay or go. And most of all, be willing to be open to the intelligence of the physical body, realizing that each of us is a tuning fork, toning the vibrations of the universe. Listen deeply to the rhythms of nature and turn down the volume knob on the mental chatter as you feel your way forward, sideways, or even backward. Mars transits Aquarius from March 15th through April 22nd. Think of Mars's transit or position in the zodiac as a point of power or force. Add to this Mars's aspects, which can feel like turning on the heat and starting to cook something. Mars shifts signs on March 15th, moving from Saturn's Earth sign Capricorn, where Mars is exalted, into Saturn's air pocket, Aquarius, joining Saturn himself. The interesting relationship between Mars and Saturn often feels like friction, which is uncomfortable, yet can also get things done. Think slowing things down or producing heat. In this equation, Mars produces the heat and Saturn slows things down. Just like many things, friction can be a welcome ally, or friction can become an uncomfortable impediment. With this knowledge, realize that between March 15th and April 22nd, we will be studying the phenomenon of friction as Mars passes through Saturn's zone. Gliding ahead of Mars is Venus, which could be a positive addition to this grouping, urging us to choose comfort and harmony as we work through our problems. This flowing energy continues to ease that friction through March. On March 31st, Venus will move into Pisces, bringing relief to the eclipse zone instead, but leaving Mars and Saturn to work through things on their own until late April. On April 10th, Mars passes by Saturn, creating the strongest point of friction just 2 days after the total solar eclipse in Pisces. In practical terms, with Mars in Aquarius, we are set up to get some difficult work finished after a long haul. With Pisces writhing and changing, try to stay focused on what has been a long-term project that is finally coming to fruition. It will be a fine balance between staying the course and also becoming aware that small adjustments are crucial. Mars's aspects from Aquarius will fire up Taurus, Leo, and Virgo. So these signs and the houses they represent in individual horoscopes could also feel a power surge. Especially Ketu and Virgo could feel this Mars energy, which could support a concerted, disciplined effort for reorganizing, rewiring, and recharging business, health, and communications. Full moon in Virgo, Hasta, March 25th, which is a penumbral lunar eclipse. After the new moon on March 10th in Aquarius, the waxing moon plies her way through the gauntlet of planets and finally becomes full at 11 degrees Virgo on March 24th or 25th, depending upon your location. This puts the sun at 11 degrees Pisces, making both luminaries close enough to the nodes Rahu and Ketu to cause a penumbral lunar eclipse strongly visible in the Americas. The moon is considered to be strong and influential when it is full, making the darkening effect of the eclipse that much more impactful. The moon will be in the nakshatra of Hasta, which is ruled by the moon itself. Virgo, which contains Hasta, is the earth sign of Mercury. It will be interesting to see how the headless influence of Ketu interacts with a very mental moment. Both Moon and Mercury are associated with what could be described as mind. Moon is associated with the messy emotions and mental sensitivity, while Mercury takes the helm of intellect. Opposing Moon and Ketu will be Sun, Rahu, and Mercury in Pisces. While the seas may be sloshing around dramatically and the seeds beginning to sprout from the earth, it could be in our best interest to sit quietly and open all of our senses during this time. The wisdom of Saturn and Mars and Aquarius will be holding us steady internally as we let the world rearrange itself around us. This is a gateway into seeing things in a new light after a moment of lights out. Welcome the short period of darkness as it wipes the slate clean, inviting new strokes on a fresh surface. Mercury enters Aries on March 25th. As the moon returns to brightness after the eclipse, Mercury moves through the tight portal that joins Pisces and Aries later that day. Let us be aware that Mercury, the fast-moving inner planet that reflects quick exchanges like communication and markets, is about to go retrograde on April 1st, which will drag him right back through that portal and into Pisces once again on April 9th. To recap March, we are seeing a focus on the signs of Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries, the final two signs of the natural zodiac that cycle back into the first. This is the transitional corner of the zodiac, where we study and sustain collection of long-term assets in Aquarius, which then leads us to finishing projects and letting go of defunct forms in Pisces, as we regenerate our energy and push forward toward new horizons in Aries. This structure is held at the moment by the slower moving outer planets, creating that circus tent atmosphere: Saturn in Aquarius, Rahu in Pisces, and Jupiter in Aries. With the carnival becoming more lively, with the inner planets flowing through that tent, causing eclipses, conjunctions, and retrograde cycles, we may be feeling a bit dizzy with the demands of change, reconsiderations, and an ever-changing playing field. Fall back on physical and mental practices and disciplines to keep yourself anchored to a comfortable seat that allows you to widen your perspective and take in new data that will inform next steps. April 2024 headlines include Venus transiting Pisces from March 31st through April 24th. We see Mercury retrograde from April 1st through the 25th. The new moon in Pisces on April 8th will cause a total solar eclipse seen in the Americas. The Mars and Saturn exact conjunction will come on April 10th. The Sun transits his exaltation sign of Aries from April 13th through May 14th. Mars transits Pisces from April 22nd through June 1st. We have a full moon in Libra on April 23rd. And Venus transits Aries from April 24th through May 18th. That's it for now. Thank you for listening. Have a great month.